From the National Newsroom of the Canadian Press, I'm Rob Westgate. Prime Minister Mark Carney will be in Tumbler Ridge, BC today to attend a vigil 3 days after 9 people died in a mass shooting.
Carney is attending the vigil at the invitation of the town's mayor. The prime minister then invited other federal party leaders to join him. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre, Bloc Québécois leader Yves-François Blanchet, NDP interim leader Don Davis, and Green Party leader Elizabeth May are expected to be at the vigil. Police said 18-year-old shooter killed her mother and stepbrother at their home in Tumbler Ridge on Tuesday before going to a school where she shot 5 students and an education assistant. More than 24 people were injured. Diana Mussina, The Canadian Press.
Alberta Premier Danielle Smith says she hasn't signed any petitions, including the one that calls for separation from Canada. Instead, Smith says the citizen-initiated process is meant for citizens, and she'll be watching all of the petition campaigns that are out there. Smith has repeatedly said that she supports a sovereign Alberta within a united Canada, but that she believes in direct democracy. Complainant cross-examination is set to continue in Frank Stronach's sex assault trial today.
The complainant told the Toronto court Thursday she was terrified decades ago when she woke up in a bed in an unknown place and realized she was being raped. The woman, who is now in her 60s and cannot be identified under a publication ban, said she didn't consent to sex with Stronach after running into him at his Toronto restaurant and didn't know how she ended up in the bed that night. Stronach, who is 93, has pleaded not guilty to a dozen charges related to 7 complainants for incidents that allegedly took place from the late 1970s to the 1990s. Now, his judge-alone trial was initially set to begin early last week, but Stronach's lawyer has asked for more time to prepare after receiving what she described as a large volume of disclosure at the 11th hour. David Augustine, The Canadian Press, Toronto.
Now, south of the border, Washington is headed for a partial government shutdown starting at midnight tonight. That's when the funding runs out for the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. ABC reporter Nicole D'Antonio has more.
With many members of Congress already having left Washington on recess, the Department of Homeland Security is all but certain to shut down this weekend. Republicans and Democrats are locked in a funding battle. Democrats refuse to fund the agency without changes to immigration enforcement. They want to require ICE agents to get warrants signed by a judge before making arrest, and they want to ban agents from wearing face coverings.
Meanwhile, federal prosecutors in Minneapolis have moved to drop felony assault charges against 2 Venezuelan men, including one who was shot in the leg by an immigration officer after new evidence emerged undercutting the government's version of events. Dozens of felony cases against protesters accused of assaulting or impeding federal officers have also crumbled. This is the Canadian Press. In sports, it was a solid day for Canadian athletes at the Milan Cortina Olympics. Mogul star Mikhail Kingsbury took silver in the men's final, and Elliot Grondin claimed the same in snowboard cross. Courtney Sareau then won bronze in the women's 500-meter short track speed skating. The men's and women's hockey teams and the women's curling squad also chalked up wins in round-robin play. The NBA, meantime, is cracking down on teams for sitting healthy players in hopes of boosting their draft odds. The league has fined the Utah Jazz $500,000 U.S. for keeping key players out of recent fourth quarters, even though the games were tight. The Indiana Pacers were also handed a $100,000 sanction for holding out Pascal Siakam and other starters. And finally, from the floor, the Bucks beat the Thunder 110-93, the Trailblazers thumped the Jazz 135-119, and the Lakers beat the Mavericks 124-104. From the Canadian Press, I'm Rob Westgate.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. For more of today's top stories, visit thecanadianpressnews.ca.